So another problem was that of the hearings who were scheduled and were held, actually quite substantial percentage was estimated not to be productive, that is not to contributing to the resolution of the process. So this is according to court services users, but actually you can see on your right, I put it there, because quite a lot of citizens actually were not able to estimate if the hearing was productive or not productive. But according to prosecutors and lawyers, there is again agreement, that quite a substantial percentage of held hearings were not productive. So according to prosecutors, it's 22%, meaning more than each 5 was not productive, and according to lawyers, almost 1/3 of the scheduled hearings were not productive. I can tell you that actually based on all this, you will see it in the report, we computed actually something we named the productivity index, and there is, it's really a lot of agreement between this index computed from citizens' experience, from lawyers and prosecutors' experience, and it goes a little bit up to 50%. So again, the question why so many hearings were not contributed to the progress, and you can see again that quite substantial percentage, that is 39% of the prosecutors and 55% of the lawyers, the reason for this find in a court, again, unprepared or incapable or inefficient judges, poor work organization, etc. So this was short for the efficiency and a lot of problems, obviously, according to the estimation of our study groups. So now about quality of services. For the quality of services, the shortest description I would say is actually that this is average tending to low. So all this red, as you can see, is low quality or very low quality. Then this yellow, the colors are not so clear on the screen, is average, and green is high quality or very high quality. And you can see that with exception of prosecutors, actually dominant colors are yellow and also red, but green is not very present in here. But of course, when it's come to users of the court, we were thinking about this, that actually the quality could be differently evaluated by the people in whose favor the judgment was rendered and in whose favor was not rendered. And we crossed this and checked, and that's true. What appeared is that people in whose favor the judgment was rendered evaluated somewhat better the quality of the services, but still, and it is very important to see that this is absolutely not the crucial factor, because you have 22% of those in whose favor the judgment was rendered who estimated the quality as low or very low, and 34% who estimated it as the average. So this is, of course, important, but not the crucial one, and we cannot say that this is the main reason. What people perceived as the most important reason for the quality not to be higher, and you can see actually what users of the court say most often. This is that judge did not do his or her job well, and also poor organization, while also, especially in business, the bad laws were especially stressed. So it's very interesting, and it was what happened all the time in this survey, and it happened also in many others, that when we come actually a little bit more to the concrete level and more personal experience, then that evaluations are at least a little bit better. You know, whenever you ask people about more abstract, more general evaluation, it's it's much worse when you come to really, really personal or more concrete. So we ask people to what extent do they agree with, in their case, that the judge was polite and pleasant, that was impartial, fair and objective, that he or she generated trust and respect, and so on. And you can see that actually the results are a little bit better than when we ask just about the general quality of the judiciary work in their case. But still, you have quite substantial percentage of people. You can see that in efficiency, it was 36% who said, no, judge was not efficient at all. So this is quite substantial percentages. Then for 31%, so almost one-third, said the judge did not generate trust and respect, which is for this evaluation, I think, quite substantial number. And then that the judge was impartial, fair, and objective, also didn't agree, almost one-third of the population, of the users. Satisfaction, well, a little bit more satisfied than they evaluated the quality as high or very high. And what we can say by looking a little bit more further in the analysis, that people say, well, I'm satisfied with average. You know, it was average quality and I'm happy with this. So this is actually what's going on from this. But again, a lot of people, quite substantial number, you can see in criminal cases, 46% is dissatisfied or very dissatisfied, and in civil cases, 36%, which is quite huge numbers, as well as in a business sector. Very, very small part, again, you can see in business sector, only 11% of the users stated that they were very satisfied with the work of judge in the first instance. Again, we crossed it with judgment in favor or not in favor, and again, we have this very similar picture, like for the quality, a little bit better with this in whose favor the judgment was rendered, but you can still see that 24%, this is 1/4 of those in whose favor the judgment was rendered, were dissatisfied or very dissatisfied. Only 60% very satisfied. So we cannot say this is a crucial moment in it. Again, reason, okay, why the quality was not higher. We asked also lawyers and prosecutors, and you can see that lawyers mainly insisted on poor organization, and prosecutors insisted on lack of staff. This lack of staff you will see all the time, you know, that overload, that people are overloaded, and lack of staff, this is mainly the prosecutor's attitude. Where we have only a little bit more agreement between lawyers and prosecutors, this is that the reason was unclear laws allowing for inconsistent interpretation. Laws are also mentioned quite often during all the survey as the reason for many troubles in a court. Fairness. Fairness, we can say, if this is if it makes sense at all, partially, you know. So this is actually the average, if it's possible, you know, to say average for the fairness. And actually, most of the people say partly, again, tending to not fair, and in their own cases. And what we have as the estimate of lawyers and prosecutors, that actually you can see that 77% of the prosecutors evaluated it as mostly fair, but only 10% as largely fair, and even 30% of prosecutors said that it was unfair up to the end of the 2009. Lawyers are, of course, much more critical also about the fairness, and 43% of lawyers, as you can see, said the judiciary system up to the end in 2009 was not fair at all. Again, for the population, judgment in favor, not in favor. We want always to show this, but you can see that even those in whose favor the judgment was rendered, 41% only said that the judiciary proceeding, that court proceeding was completely fair, fully fair. Yeah, but most of them again said, well, partly, whatever that it means. Okay, so chief reason for judicial system not to be largely fair. This was our question to the lawyers and prosecutors. And as you can see, again, overload and poor organization of the judicial system is what was most often mentioned by actually 31% of prosecutors and 29% of the lawyers. But also all other factors were named: poor legal provision, the judicial system is politicized. Politicization of the judicial system you will see much more later on, related to integrity and other things, but also even that corruption in judicial system in this related to fairness was mentioned, but smaller percentage of the lawyers and prosecutors are saying that when it comes to corruption, this is not such a small percentage. 7% of prosecutors mentioned corruption as one of the reasons. Related to fairness of judiciary system, we ask lawyers and prosecutors how they see the judiciary system treat all citizens equally, notwithstanding their political affiliation, disability, education, place of residence, socioeconomic status, nationality, age, and gender. And you have here basic result. Actually, we didn't ask the prosecutors about political affiliation, but this is really amazing. I would say that 99% of the lawyers, so this is complete agreement, you really rarely show, thought that actually one of the reasons of unequal treatment, one of the causes was political affiliation, which provoked the unequal treatment of the people. The other factor, actually, which could be only say that was mentioned by lawyers and prosecutors in some substantially higher percentage, was socioeconomic status and education, but I would say education is a part of socioeconomic status. So that this was actually the factor which provoked unequal treatment in judiciary, the main one. All others, let's say, are lawyers mentioned more, 80% of lawyers, nationality, then 10%, age, gender, 9%, and much smaller percentage of the prosecutors name it as a possible cause of unequal treatment of the citizens.